everyone, I'm Replay Ty Heretic, and this is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U and 3DS. So before we get started, I'm just going to note one major thing. This is going to be a complete series. I'm going to go from beginning to end with this, and I'm going to show you every single quest, and hopefully along the way I will be able to help you learn more about each area, how each monster works, and from there on, we'll just have a hell of a time playing this. I am super excited to be playing this because I love Monster Hunter. I recently just started playing it, and I am in love with it. If people say that it's constantly grindy, well, yeah. But that's what makes it fun. Because grinding isn't really grinding. Because you always hunt a monster, and it's always an interesting experience. So without further ado, we're going to jump right ahead. And we're going to start by making a character. Alright, so I guess we will name this character tapping buttons on the gamepad. Here we go. Yep, that's about as generic of a name as I can give it. I will give him there we go. We'll make this a bit darker of a blue. This won't really matter in deep context, but, you know, I like having a character that I kind of want to be suit with. Right. I guess this face will do. Features. Mustache and a beard, okay. I recently just got over a cold, by the way, so I might cough every so often. That's gonna be my warning right now. I'm mostly fine. It's just that sometimes my throat will act up a little bit. I've been out for a couple of weeks, and my throat's usually the one that suffers. Alright, we'll go with this hairstyle. And we'll make this super brown. There we go. That'll do. Skin tone, make him a little darker. Gotta make him look normal. And with that, that should be our hunter. Initial setting for the touch panel. Standard or dynamic? If I choose standard, then all the things you see on the right side here, the stuff on the Wii U gamepad, that'll show up on the gamepad for me to use. If I choose dynamic, then all of the HUD elements that you would see on the main screen are going to be on the gamepad. I'm going to keep this on standard so you guys can see everything that's going on, and I'm actually going to adjust the touch panel during an episode break. And we're going to edit this over my practice file. And welcome to the world of Monster Hunter. Extended data has been saved with other game data. Yeah. Because I only played like a couple of hunts with my girlfriend, so. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our HUD, or hub area, I should say, rather. Welcome to Moga Village. Dialogue's not important. If you actually want to read this, then I should actually be able to let you guys pause it so you can read it. There's nothing majorly important. To clear up all the dialogue boxes, we're just going to talk to everyone here. It's mostly just them talking about what they do and everything. Over here we have the fishmongress. This will be important later when we get the hunting fleet back. And the Wyverian artisan is the blacksmith here in the village. Don't talk to you again. And the guild sweetheart is the person that works at the guild. She will give you quests once you start getting quests. The first couple of hours of this game are primarily going to be you learning about the game. In fact, I can't really say a few hours. About 6 hours of this game, you're probably going to learn more or less about things you don't really care about. But it's going to be important in the long run because some monsters will not be able to be fought until you do those specific quests. Anybody else that we need to talk to? Shows here we have a person over here in the shop. No wait, not the shop. We have Neko. Neko will allow you to go over to a place called Portansia. That is the multiplayer and online area. You can go there solo, which is what I'm going to be doing for most of the stuff. Well, not most of it. I'm going to save the Tanzia stuff, the Portansia stuff, for when I need to. For the most part, you're going to be seeing a majority of this series is going to primarily take place in Moga Village's quests up until high rank stuff. We won't be heading to Portansia until a lot later, and you guys are going to be seeing every single second of this grand adventure. I won't be cutting out anything, any gathering quests that I take part in. I am going to upload along with a hunting quest, so people that want to see hunts can watch them, and they can just not watch the gathering stuff. But I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. So if you guys don't want a fully comprehensive thing and you just want to see somebody screw around and hunt monsters, then this probably is not going to be the series for you. Talk to Chamberlain, who is our little feline house kitty, or our house feline. We can put furnishings into our house and make it our special little thing. I'm going to place this here. It's a prism shroom lamp. I'm going to get all the furnishings. Now, naturally, I would switch to my weapon that I'm going to be using, but for now, I'm actually going to show you how combat works, which is exactly what we're going to be doing right now. This game is going to teach us all about the controls, but I'm not going to let you guys read all that, because I can teach you everything right now. Alright, so the basic controls of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and pretty much anything in the 3rd generation has the similar control scheme, even 3rd Portable or 3rd HD, if you have the Japan copies, or Tri, for that matter, on the Wii. Basic controls are, if you have a dual stick, like the classic controller, or the Dual Shocks on the PS3 and such, left stick moves your character in a 360-degree angle. You can change the option that will allow your character to move. Here's a cinematic of the area. You can change it so that your character will move based on the camera angle, or your character will move based on your character's degree and stuff. It's really hard to explain because I don't actually use that option. I go with the default, which is it's more freedom of motion. The right stick will rotate the camera if you move it left and right. If you go up or down just by tapping it, it will change the degree up to 4 times down. This is the default. Angle right here, this one, and 2 angles up. I prefer this angle the most. And also, if you hold the R button, you will dash. As you see in the top left, your health bar is the green, your stamina bar is the yellow, which slowly depletes if you run or dodge by pressing the B button. If you go near a gathering spot like this peculiar little item here, you will gather. You will gather or carve based off of if you defeat a monster or slay a monster. Pressing the same button will allow you to carve that monster, which we will see in a moment. Right now we're gathering herbs, which is your first healing item in the game. Your first healing items are important. You're going to want to gather herbs and blue mushrooms very early on. You only have access to the first 3 areas of the deserted island at first. We can't really take a look at the touchscreen right now. This is going to tell us that we can actually customize the panels, which is what I'm going to do in the intermission. So what I see right now on the panel is I have a combo list, an item pouch, a a lock-on button, and I can also adjust, and I can also use the camera on that as well. I also have signaling buttons, which are important for later. Okay, here we go. So here's our first little encounter with a monster in this game, the Aptonoth. The Aptonoth is a staple monster in the Monster Hunter franchise. They are herbivores, which means that they will not attack viciously. They will attack out of self-defense, but for the most part, they are very neutral, and they are easy to use or they are easy to slay. Their drops are usually bone and raw meat, which you're going to want raw meat a lot, because raw meat will increase your stamina when cooked, which we will learn about cooking a little bit later. Also, in case it isn't obvious, I'm actually holding back coughs to try to enunciate my words. And it's kind of hard at times, but I'm still going to go on with this. I'm actually really hyped to do this, and I don't really want to wait any longer, because I might get worse at any point. Because I'm kind of prone to getting sick a lot. So with that raw meat, we're going to head straight to the camp area. Now, when you start quests, this area is actually going to be where you're primarily going to start your missions. This little camp area will have a supply box, a drop-off box, and a rest area. But since the earthquake, things are kind of looking not too shabby. Let's talk to the Chief's son. Gonna take a visit for Moga Woods. His name is Junior, but he calls himself the Chief's son. After the earthquake, he went to go check out the base, and pretty much it's destroyed. He does want some raw meat, though, so we are actually going to give him some raw meat, and from there, we're going to head back to Moga Village. Mona Village? What is this, WarriorWare? Okay. Perfect. Looks like you can handle simple tasks. So if we want to head back to the village, we got to go straight back to Area 1 and pass through the gate to return. But first, we're actually going to get some items real quick. The first thing we're going to go for are these little spots here, these mushroom gathering spots. From here, we will gain an item called blue mushrooms. This is the second core ingredient in making potions, probably one of the most helpful items you can ever have on you at any point in the Monster Hunter franchise. Also, another thing to note is how the health and stamina system works in this game. Each little tick you see, which is about a fraction of these, each little fraction of that is 25 health. Each tick that is added on through various means is 25 health. The same thing goes for your stamina bar. Your stamina will decrease by 25 points when hunger overfills you or something. That's not the right choice of words. When hunger starts to deplete your stamina meter, it will go down by 1 tick, which is 25 points. The maximum for both point systems, or both bars, I should say. Man, I am at a loss for words today. The maximum for both bars is 150 points, which means that they cannot go higher, and they will not go any lower than... for health, I don't think it'll go any further than 50 points, or any lower than 2 ticks or 50 health. And your stamina bar can go all the way down to 25. So you want to make sure that you do have rations or well-done steaks on you at any point. Rations are supply box items, which we will see when we start a quest. But for now, our means of regaining stamina will be well-done steaks, because they are the most efficient. Right, go back to the village, and we have completed the first sort of kind of tutorial. We're going to be learning a lot more as we go through. Let's see here. Okay, the Chief's Son gives us the barbecue spit. And from this, now the one major thing you should know about this, if you download all the DLC before you do a first time playthrough of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, you will obtain 2 masks that are important for the Shakalakas, which are your followers. We'll get to those later when they appear. And you'll also get 5,000 resource points. Now, naturally, we're not going to be using these resource points for this. We're actually going to go out and, you know, hunt and do stuff. Because not only this, but we also have a quest to handle for getting iron later down the road. We received 1,000 Zenny for that. I suppose we should go out and gather resources just so you can see how it goes. Now, I could just kind of use the resources I have right now, but that would kind of ruin the purpose of kind of teaching you how it works. Apparently the place in Area 6 is ripe with resources. Alright, so I guess I gotta show you the tutorial for the barbecue spit as well, which is a rhythm game in a way. When you use the barbecue spit, you plonk down a piece of meat, and you wait for the music to end.
So tasty.
There, you get a well-done steak. Well-done steak will increase your stamina by 50 points. I'm gonna just cook all this real quick. This is an introductory video, so just get ready for a lot of this. Ah, damn it.
Yum! So tasty.
It is possible to be interrupted, by the way, with this. You can be interrupted at any point if you're attacked by a monster.
Yum! So tasty.
How many raw meats do I have left? Because I don't think you guys want to sit here and watch me cook meat for like 10 minutes. Later down the road, we will get a double barbecue spit, which will allow me to cook steaks
so
at twice the speed of this. It's a lot faster. It carves off a lot of time for using the barbecue spit. We did pick up some herbs on the way, which is going to be important. Monster list. Right, the monster list. In the Hunter Notes, you will have a monster list. If you go into here, you can actually learn about the monsters that you have hunted before. This is important because you actually have to buy the books on the monsters at times, especially the big ones, which we won't see until about Star 2 quests. For now, here's the Jiggy. The Jiggy is our first carnivorous monster. Aggressive, hunts in packs, and naturally, pretty good armor. Although, we won't be able to get armor from just the Jiggy. No. The Jiggy will only give us bird wyvern claws. Now then, the first thing you're gonna want to know about the sword and shield if you go with it is it is one of the more neutralized weapons in the game, which means that there are very few drawbacks, but at the same time, few positives. It'll allow you to attack fast and attack in combos, but at the same time, you will have to be up close to do damage, and at the same time, you will also be able to block by holding the R button. Now, this is the only tutorial of a different weapon because I'm not planning on using the sword and shield for the series. I'm going to be using something with a little bit more range. Now I'm actually going to carve these because I do need Jiggy hides. Okay, bird wyvern fangs, that's okay. Now the one major thing you're going to want to know about this game is that pretty much you're going to have to scrounge around for gathering spots. Now some are easy to see, others are not so easy to see. And you'll see what I mean in a short while. Pretty much, sometimes you're going to be seeing gathering points kind of just stick out like a sore thumb, like they're kind of a little bit too brightened in a way. That's kind of a good thing, because in the original Monster Hunter games, you did not have an indicator that would tell you that there was a gathering point nearby. So not only did they, in 3rd generation Monster Hunter, like Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, they not only gave you a little pop-up that told you when something was able to be gathered, they also made things a lot more visible to see at a distance and up close. So things stand out more. Did I get 30 resource points? Hold on, let me check. I don't think I can. Well, I guess that's fine for now. We got to see the Jiggy, so that's fine enough by me. After this, we're actually going to switch right into our different weapon. Now, naturally, these videos are going to drag on for a little bit of time, because some hunts can take a very, very long time. So, just be warned of this, these videos are not going to typically be perhaps 30 minutes long. This video will probably be 30 minutes long, but I wouldn't push my luck saying that all of them will be. Alright, let's go turn in this gathering quest. We gotta go talk to the Wyverian Artisan now. Let's give this weapon of yours a little upgrade. So we are going to, since he gave us a Mega Pickaxe, we have to go collect some iron ore. Sorry. We have to go collect some iron ore for him. And naturally, the first weapon that we will be able to upgrade is not of any sort. Because as you see, some require big upgrades, some require a lot more resources, and others just require a lot of crazy stuff. So naturally, what we're going to do is we're going to wrap up this episode with getting the iron ore. I guess I really am just skipping through text. Most of the text isn't really important because it's usually just them kind of explaining everything to you. But since I'm explaining everything to you, they don't really need to be there. Right. So for the first... for the first mining experience that you're going to be going through, we're going to be going to Area 4. Area 4 has quite a few resource points, or not resource points, quite a couple gathering points for mining. So you don't want to just gather one point. You want to go through the entire area of Area 4 and look around, see if you can find a few sources. Because sometimes you might get a little bit more than just iron ore. You could get stone, and you can potentially get macalite ore here. Now, the Moga pickaxe, which is what the Wyverian Artisan gave us, is the strongest pickaxe that you can obtain in the game, as far as I know. I actually haven't played G rank yet, but I probably will be eventually. But as far as I know, the Moga pickaxe is the strongest you can get. In order of the pickaxes you can obtain, you have the old pickaxe and the iron pickaxe, and then the Moga pickaxe, like I said, is the strongest you can get. Alright, so just like any other gathering point, if you want to mine, you have to be next to the area and you have to wait for this little pop-up to show up. The difference is, if you want to mine something, you have to have a pickaxe of any sort. Now, for those of you that use the leather armor, like I am using, which you use by default, with the leather armor, you get a special ability called Gatherer's Whim, or it's just called Spirit's Whim. Spirit's Whim will increase the durability of pickaxes and bug nets. Along with these abilities that you have on these leather items, you also have the Speed Gatherer skill, which lets you gather items faster, and of course Gathering +1, which increases the amount of times you can gather at a specific harvest point. I'll just call them gathering points and harvest points because they sound great. Now, if you think that only Area 4 has mining points, Area 7 also has mining points. Also, one in Area 6. There's also some in later areas in the northern place, and there are no gathering points here right now. However, there is a gathering point for stone and whetstone here, which we are going to go for. Whetstone, by the way, I forgot to mention, whetstone is a very important thing if you are a blade master. Blade masters use weapons like the sword and shield, longsword, greatsword, switch axe, anything that has a sharpness meter like the one shown under the stamina bar, that little flashing yellow blade. That blade shows the sharpness of your weapon. If it is decreased at any point in sharpness, then your ability to slice through specific parts of a monster's body, also your damage will be reduced. Sometimes when you hit a monster in a specific part of the body and your sharpness is not high enough, then your weapon will bounce off and not do as much damage, and might potentially decrease your sharpness level even more. So just a warning out there. If your level sharpness drops below yellow, then it's probably a wise idea to sharpen right away. If you have anything within green sharpness anyways. If you have a yellow sharpness weapon like you start off with the sword and shield, it's best to just kind of wait it out until you have red sharpness. Because at this point in the game, it's not really important to sharpen your weapons, because you're not facing anything big yet. So with that, we're going to turn in these iron ore pieces. So after getting all of this iron, we can upgrade our weapons to anything that we can actually upgrade to. Some people might focus on the weapons that they're using right now, like the Hunter's Knife. It's not recommended unless you are already a huge fan of the Sword and Shield. My personal recommendation is you spend maybe 20 or 30 minutes trying out each weapon in Moga Woods, just to see how they feel and understand. Also, if you use the home menu at any point on 3DS or Wii U versions, and you go to the manual of these games, they have in-manual tutorials of how the weapons work and, like, all their controls. I personally use the longsword a lot, because the longsword is a very versatile, swift weapon that hits hard, and hits harder at times. However, I'm not going to be using that. Instead, I'm actually going to be using a weapon that I recently just now started using. So I'm actually going to put all of this stuff in the box real quick. There we go. And then we're going to equip the weapon of my choice for this series, the bow. Now, it's not recommended early on for newer players to actually start with a ranged weapon. If anything's in the gunner set, which the gunner set involves the bow, the light bow gun, and the heavy bow gun. This is the light bow gun, this is the heavy bow gun. The heavy bow gun hits harder, has siege mode, but the light bow gun allows you to fire and crouch at the same time. That's the basic gist of it. The bow, however, is a weapon that's been around for... I wouldn't say first gen, because the bow guns were there first. But the bow is probably the most agile of the ranged weapons, if used properly. So I'm going to be using this for the series. The bow. It's going to be a lot of money to get coatings and everything, so it's wise for me to get used to this now. Also, I won't be able to get an upgrade until about Star 3. So, this is going to be fun. it's going to be a lot of fun. And also I get to keep all of my leather stuff because leather armor kind of, you know, is an even equipment. It's good for blade and gunner, pretty much, the basic leather armor. But later down the road, I'm going to have to make sure that I get the gunner set instead of the blade master set. But we'll all see that later in the very, very far future. So that was the first episode of Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. I thank you all for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like. Also comment. I always like to hear what people have to say about the game, how my commentary works, and how my channel is, and everything. So feel free to talk and discuss in the comments. I always enjoy listening to people's comments. If you really like all my videos, feel free to subscribe. Also, there is links to other websites that I am on. I have a secondary channel, I have a streaming channel, I have a collab channel. So feel free to look down in the description below for all that. Until next time, I am Replay Ty Heretic, and I will see you in the next episode.